Kamala Harris has a big problem, right? She has established for herself a record as the most liberal figure in national American politics. That was her record when she was elevated to the vice presidency, and she can't run away from it. And she's in a very truncated campaign, which makes it even more difficult to establish some kind of a nuance. She can't repudiate her entire career. She can't say, well, I no longer believe in gun buybacks. I no longer believe in eliminating the public health insurance industry. All these pie in the sky progressive wish list items she established for herself as her positions. She can't repudiate her own record. What she can do is a grand gesture. And picking somebody like Josh Shapiro represents that kind of grand gesture as a giant move to the center of her party in the way that John Fetterman did it. John Fetterman has not repudiated his past progressive policy prescriptions. He is the same progressive when it comes to policy preferences that he was in 2022 when he won his seat. All he's done, save for making a couple of noises about increased border security and the desirability of having an enforceable border, is to be a stalwart supporter of Israel since the 10/7 attacks and to face down a really freakish, menacing mob. And that has paid amazing dividends for him. He was the least popular senator in America in 2023. He is now above water and viewed favorably by Pennsylvanians to the tune of almost a majority, including a third of Trump voters in the Keystone State, a must-win state. Now, Kamala Harris has kind of a complicated record on Israel, but the far left does not trust her. They never have. And for good reason. When she was a U.S. senator and when she was the vice president, she angered them very frequently. She rejected pressure from the activist class to support the notion that there's ethnic genocide going on in Israel. Even before the 10/7 attacks, some student accosted her with this accusation, and she gently rebuked them. And she got a lot of flack for it from her left flank. She's sponsored legislation to combat anti-Semitism. She opposes BDS. She even criticized Barack Obama in 2016 when he withdrew diplomatic cover from Israel in the United Nations. She's broken from her party on Israel, her far left of the party on Israel, so much that the left-wing Institute for Policy Center has called her a neoconservative. She should lean into this. She should embrace this.
Lean
It's
in,
easier,
yes.
frankly,
Yeah,
than reestablishing her record.
of course it is. And everything you say, as it always is, as it always does, makes sense on paper. It is clinically sensible and correct. I consider it to be as likely as Joe Biden on Celebrity Jeopardy. And here's why. It's not a few years ago. You're correct in outlining the litany of things that she has done. And I don't want to overstate the degree to which the Democrat base is a seething mob of Jew-hating anti-Semites. But enough of them are. I don't think for a minute she's going to take Josh Shapiro. I think that would even add to the rioting outside the United Center in Chicago next month. I don't think she'll do it in a million years. And Fetterman's heart is in it. I mean, Fetterman, my favorite line about Fetterman is he went to an actual mental hospital and came out less liberal. I think there's a lesson in that. But his heart is obviously in it. Hers is not. It's just not. So your words are wise. They are good advice. In a room with her, somebody smart would tell her that. Her likelihood of doing it, zero.
All right. Well, I don't think you're wrong because I don't know who the real Kamala Harris is, frankly. I don't think any of us really do. If her convictions, her personal convictions, are to be far more hostile to Israel, and not, by the way, not the Netanyahu government. If being really passive aggressive to the Netanyahu government was a killer for Democrats, it would have killed Bill Clinton. It would have killed Barack Obama. This is being hostile to Netanyahu is a tried and true strategy for Democratic presidents. That being said, if it doesn't wear well on her, if she doesn't genuinely believe it, then it will prove disingenuous and it will reflect poorly on her. It's easier to be the person you are than the person you're not. Granted. If the Democratic Party, however, and Kamala Harris concedes the notion that you just offered here, that we can't confront these mobs because they're going to get worse, then the mobs are going to get worse. Either way, you lose. There's no way for you to avoid this confrontation. The confrontation is upon you. You either combat it, you engage in it, or you attempt to pretend like it's not there and allow your opponents to highlight it and define it and hang it around your neck like a millstone. There's really no way out of this conflict except through it. And it remains to be seen whether or not the Democratic Party has that kind of fortitude and courage and self-confidence. I'm kind of with you. I don't think they do. But if they did, if they were to engage in this fight, and it should be not necessarily, it's a fight is a wrong word, because they're not going to go engage in a direct confrontation with these people. They're going to repudiate them subtly, sotto voce. And if they did that, it would pay dividends. If they choose to pretend like this is not happening, it's I'm with you. It'll probably kill them.
I don't see Kamala as a sotto voce candidate, but what a superb deploy of that term. In our last 3-4 minutes here with Noah Rothman, did you catch the Biden explanation? Did I miss something? I was promised an explanation. I didn't get one. Did you discern one?
I don't know. Last night. I don't know about you, but I cherry the idea of the president reflecting on his time in office and providing us with or something approaching a reasonable explanation for his withdrawal there. Again, he demonstrated why he's leaving the race, because he was tripping all over himself and delivering a very maladroit address from the Oval Office. One thing that the Trump campaign rather is really frustrated about this morning, and I'm with them, is that what we were privy to last night was a very political speech, akin to a campaign address from the Oval
Mm-hmm.
Office, and they got time on every network for it. And if I was a Trump campaign, yeah, I'd be very frustrated. I would be with Chris LaCivita, campaign chairman, saying, we need equal time here, because that was a bait and switch. I think they're right about that. I would be frustrated too. But no, we didn't get any explanation as to why Joe Biden is dropping out of the race but not resigning. But I don't think that's the end of the story. Joe Biden is the president. He's not going away. He is going to continue to be a distraction for Kamala Harris and Democrats broadly, and he's going to continue to decline. And I don't see that as being something that is just going to disappear tomorrow, even if the press declines to acknowledge the fact that Joe Biden is the president. He will be a visible presence, and Republicans are not going to let him go away. And the drumbeat will be on for Joe Biden to withdraw, to provide his vice president with the power of incumbency so she can campaign from that position of authority. And once the haze is washed away after the Democratic nominating convention, this debutante's ball is over, and we see something like the race approaching status quo ante, which is probably a jump ball, Democrats are going to start to panic, and Democrats are going to want to give her another leg up. And that's the last one they have. It's the only arrow in their quiver, is to give her the office that she seeks so she can campaign from it and usher Joe Biden off the stage so he's no longer eating up the kind of oxygen he did last night towards no discernible end. I don't know what the purpose of that speech was. It didn't do anything to give us any clearer picture of what was going through Joe Biden's mind or what he hopes to see happen in the next 6 months.